Hello and welcome to another edition of the Man O'Clock News. My name is Michael Gray and I'll be your host. Today we're going to talk about certain aspects of psychology in society and how it affects us as men and how to see things clearly and protect yourself from certain situations. Now, first of all, I wanted to take a look at the definitions of what is psychosis, because that's basically like a detachment from reality. So that's something I want to put men and women in comparison. Okay? Now, psychosis is a mental health problem that causes people to perceive or interpret things differently from those around them. Okay? That is what it means. Now, that's according to the nhsinfo.scot, which is in the UK. Now, in the overview, it says psychosis is when people lose some contact with reality. This might involve seeing or hearing things that other people cannot see or hear, which are called hallucinations. But that's not the part I want to talk about. I want to talk about the delusions part. Let's see. A false belief or judgment about external reality held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary. It means there's like facts and evidence that suggest you're totally wrong, but you still believe what you believe. Occurring especially in mental conditions. All right. Now, from this, we're moving onwards to the definitions of high-value woman and high-value man, according to ChatGPT, which is an AI construct that you ask a question or you give it a task and it writes one for you. Now, let's take a first look about the high-quality man. Okay, so I asked it, and it says, the term high-value man is often used in context of dating and relationships to describe a man who is considered to possess desirable qualities and characteristics. While the specific definition of a high-value man may vary depending on the individual, there are generally a few traits that are commonly associated with this concept. Now, notice that the concept is associated in context of dating and relationship. This is by no means like an objective, what is this man worth? Okay, let's see what it is. 1. Confidence. A high-value man is often seen as confident and self-assured, with a strong sense of purpose and a direction in life. 2. Ambition. He is driven to achieve his goals and pursue his passions, whether in his career or personal life. I'm already bored. 3. Integrity, of course. A high-value man is honest, trustworthy, and principled, and he takes responsibility for his actions. I want you to remember number 3, okay? Emotional intelligence. He has the ability to understand and manage his own emotions as well as of those of others. Financial stability. Number 5. He is financially responsible and has a stable income or career trajectory. I would say that is true, but they didn't put into account women's demands of men these days. 6. Respect for others. He treats others with respect and kindness and is supportive of those around him. It is important to note that the concept of a high-value man can be subjective, and what one person considers valuable or desirable in a partner may differ from what someone else values. Ultimately, the most important thing is finding a partner who aligns with your own values and priorities. I almost said ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, mission impossible. Like 98% chance of failure to find that. Let's take a look now. Let's take a look what is a high-value woman according to ChatGPT. Okay, the term high-value woman can mean different things to different people, but generally it refers to a woman who is confident, self-assured, and has a strong sense of her own worth. They have a strong sense of their own worth. Is it realistic? She's someone who has a clear sense of her own values and priorities and lives her life in accordance with them. Some common traits of a high-value woman include self-confidence, This is the same thing as they told about men, but they put it differently. Knows her worth and is comfortable in her own skin. Comfortable in her own skin? So why the layers of makeup, plastic surgery, tattoos and pierced noses and all? Okay, her own skin. That's debatable. Number 2, independence. Very important. She's able to take care of herself and is not dependent on others for her happiness or well-being. Okay. 3, authenticity. See, 3 for men was integrity. This is authenticity. What is the difference? Less responsibility. I just got to be real. I don't have to be accountable. And ChatGPT agrees. This is no longer a matter of personal opinion here. She is true to herself and does not try to be someone she is not in order to please others. Really? Really? I mean, every time she asks a guy, what do you look for in a woman? She basically looks for a hack and exploits of his brain. He wants this, this, and that. So I'm going to be inauthentic. I'm going to be fake. I'm going to give him what he wants to draw him in. Men with experience know this. Empathy. A high-value woman is able to put herself in other people's shoes and understand their perspectives. Wrong. Men have problems and challenges that women cannot understand because they don't go through it, and it's not necessary for them in order to achieve their goals. 5, respect. That's common to both, but I have something to say that respect is earned. Like money and respect also can be taking a long time to build up and earn and a few seconds to lose. Okay? She treats others with respect and expects to be treated in respect in return. Reciprocity is a big word. It means you give what you get and you get what you give. I don't believe so. Try to approach any woman. See if you are treated with respect instead of cringe behavior. 6, growth mindset. She's open to learning and growing. Maybe personal growth is not their forte. She's open to learning and growing and is willing to take risks in order to achieve her goals. Being run through by Chads and Tyrones and Carlos and Shlomos. The list goes on. 7, self-care. This is an important one because this one actually is reflected in what men find attractive. I mean, she takes care of her physical, emotional, and mental well-being and prioritizes self-care in her life. Let's talk about that. Take care of her physical? Yeah, it's like 2 different edges of the spectrum. Like goes to the gym and pumps iron and shapes up, or is obese or fat or just waddling through life. I mean, there is a middle ground, of course, but not to their perception. See, the 5s and the 6s, they all give themselves an 8, 9, and a 10, and that's been seen in other videos. Emotional and mental well-being. Now, in my personal experience, that you need to be able to look inside of you, recognize there's something that's not completely good for you, and then take steps for it. I've known many women who've gone to therapy. Not a lot of them got constructive criticism or acted upon it. Because after 10 years, if you're still single, miserable, and abrasive, uncomfortable to deal with, then what kind of progress have you made? In summation, overall, a high-value woman is someone who knows her worth, lives her life in a way that aligns with her values and properties. And priorities, sorry, not properties. She's not a file. Now, I want to introduce something else that will make it even more realistic for you guys. Delusions of grandeur. from the word grand or great, or for you Gen Zers, fire, drippy, whatever. A delusion of grandeur is a false or unusual belief about one's power, wealth, talents, and other traits. We're going to focus on other traits because, let's say, power, wealth, and talents, those can be debated when it comes to women, because they don't need to actually prove their mettle, prove that they are in a high functioning top of the spectrum when it comes to those. Women of power and wealth and talents is debatable. I mean, does that website that starts with only considered a talent? I don't know. A person may believe, for instance, they are famous, can end world wars. If women control the world, there'd be no wars. Delusion. Or that they are immortal. Now, in the sense of immortal, I like to think of it as they think they have an unending lifetime, so they can do whatever they want without considering future ramifications and what's going to happen as a consequence. Consequences. Okay, delusions of grandeur, also called grandiose delusions, often accompany other mental health symptoms, including other delusions. They may be related to mental or physical health conditions, including schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or some type of dementia. Okay, this is not what we're talking about. Let's see it. What are delusions of grandeur? People experiencing delusions of grandeur see themselves as great, highly accomplished, more important than others, or even magical. The delusion may be persistent, or it may appear only periodically. Depending on how many likes you got on a picture. Some people with delusions of grandeur also experience other delusions, such as fear of persecution or unusual religious beliefs. Fear of persecution, like, when a guy asks you how you doing, and outside of a context of a dating website. But I would call that fear of persecution that's not justified. Like they're saying, I can't walk down the street feeling safe. Darling, no one is safe. The situation depends on people who threaten you around, and you can't tell by gender. If that's a guy, doesn't mean he's more dangerous to you than any other guy. Okay. However, a delusion of grandeur is more than just high self-esteem. Oh yeah. It's not high self-esteem, it's delusional. Or an inflated sense of self-importance. Doesn't sound familiar to you guys? It does for me. It marks a significant disconnection from the real world. A person with delusions of grandeur may continue to believe in the delusions in spite of contradictory evidence. Facts and feelings. Let's see. There are different types. Delusions of grandeur come in many forms. Many people experience delusions of a similar theme over time. Let's just jump into the examples. Inflated the belief in one's own importance, such as having the power to end war. I would say importance can be coming in many shapes, and a lot of them we can see around. Like dictating someone's work schedule, or demanding attention at all hours of the day, or other, putting yourself or herself in the middle and the top priority, no matter the situation. A belief that one is famous or occupies high position in society, debatable. A belief that one is a religious leader. I used to say that I broke up with one of my girlfriends over religious differences, that she believed she was God and I disagreed. A belief in one's ability to live forever. We're not talking about a superpower that's never aging, eternal, like Wonder Woman. We're talking about time is not a concept that they value. Like, I've spent 2 years with a guy who won't commit to me. You should have bailed in the first month, but instead, I'm gonna live forever, so I got forever until they hit the wall around 28, 30. A false belief that one cannot be harmed by disease or injury. Let's skip that one because it's irrelevant. An inflated sense of intelligence. Oh yeah, Oh yeah, definitely. There was a research, and this phenomenon. I forgot what it's called. That most people with lower intelligence consider themselves high intelligences because they can't perceive themselves objectively. Uh, yeah. A belief that one possesses magical skills, such as the ability to read minds. Actually, this one is in reverse, because a lot of women do not communicate clearly. They don't say what they mean. They even don't bother to try. They say, well, if you don't know me, I would say that, they think we possess magical skills, like they expect telepathy. Now, at this point, I'd like to end the video and tell you that from all of this that you heard from me now, I hope you take some of it with you when you deal with someone who does not give you what you get from them, that does not hold themselves accountable, and demand better. Remember, there's over 7 billion people in the world. Don't chase, replace. It's not hateful to say that. Now, I wanted to add a segment to the Man O'Clock News, which is called Science Fiction News in the future, and I'll incorporate it in the future. That would be kind of like, I can give you an example. Family courts have changed the law, so now every custody hearing ends up in 50-50. Children spend half the time in the father's home, half the time in the mother's home. No child support payments at all. Another piece of news that could be a future legislation, like my body, my choice. Women have the freedom to choose, but men have the also the ability to opt out. So instead of a birthing license, is a birthing agreement, which if a woman wants to keep a pregnancy that was not planned, she has to sign a contract that the man is agreeing to let her have the baby instead of his wishes not to be a father, or be a father with her, and releases him from all responsibilities perceived by society of providing money and time and effort. Okay, basically saying, well, if you chose for yourself, I'm gonna choose for myself, and stuff like that. So I'm gonna make it a little more satirical and comical next time. If you stuck around this far, thank you very much for your support. It's very important for the algorithm. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment if you got any questions or preferences about future videos. See you around. Michael Gray from the Man O'Clock News, signing off.